Hello, class. Our case presentation today is going to be on Yuhan-Kimberly's Keep Korea Green Again by Andres Aparicio, Tatiana Chavez, Kevin Macias. Thank you.
So in the introduction, Wook Lee is introduced first as an employee and secondly as the Vice President of Corporate Communications for Yuhan-Kimberly 25 years later. Lee was part of his company's corporate social responsibility campaign, Keep Korea Green Again, that involved reforesting a barren mountainside. Flash forward to the present time, Lee is worried his company is seen as a hypocritical self-proclaimed company, which then he has to make the decision whether or not to keep the current slogan or go a different route. He is then one of the top deciders for the company's new CRS campaigns.
So, the origins of Yuhan-Kimberly. Founded in 1926, one of the oldest Korean companies, Elon New, founder, graduated from the University of Michigan and became the first Asian accountant at GE. He then came back to start a pharmaceutical business during Japanese colonial rule. He believed in profit-seeking business is worthwhile only when it results not just in the individual wealth but national prosperity. He was also very generous with his community. He built a boarding and technical school, and when he would pass, all his money would go to charity. So the start of Yuhan-Kimberly. So in 1970, Yuhan Corp enters a joint venture with Kimberly-Clark, which is one of the world's largest leading manufacturers in personal care products. He was motivated by politics more than economics. Ilhan did not want to rely on dictatorship support from President Jung-Hyun Park because he did not want to have bribery with the government to keep his business afloat. He then would venture with a U.S. company, which would be a safe net Yuhan Corp needed.
The growth of Yuhan-Kimberly. In 1970, their first factory was built, which would turn out about 0.3 million in sales, creating mostly feminine napkins, toilet paper, and facial tissues. Around this time, South Korea's rapid growing middle class was beginning to adopt a more Western lifestyle, needing for more specialized paper products that Yuhan-Kimberly was able to provide. By 1980, they came out with their second factory and began to manufacture Huggies diapers. They would further expand their product line, and by 1994, their third plant named Daejeon would see about 268.32 billion in sales. Competition with P&G. Around the mid-1980s, South Korea's growing market drew other multinational companies from overseas, such as Procter & Gamble, who entered in 1989 through a joint venture with another Korean company, Seotong Battery. Soon after, P&G would part ways with Seotong and establish their own wholly subsidiary to begin the drive into Korea's personal product market against Yuhan-Kimberly. They proved to be a formidable foe, as P&G already had established brands such as Whispers, which was a feminine napkins product, and Pampers, baby diapers, big advertising budgets, and time-tested managing systems that were known to succeed. At first, it seemed as P&G would dominate Yuhan-Kimberly, but by 2000, Yuhan-Kimberly would dominate the major categories that it was competing against, such as feminine care and diaper products. Yuhan-Kimberly successfully responded with developing a product using $10 million, which was not only functional superior according to the universal specifications, but also more comfortable in use as it perceived by local consumers. Performance in 2007. By 2007, Yuhan-Kimberly had proved to dominate the market share, with nearly 905 billion in sales and 105 billion in net income. That's about 8.5% and 16.3% annual increases, respectively. Their most successful product lines proved to still be the big three, which included family care, infant care, and feminine care. For the last 3 years, those three products had captured nearly 80% of their total revenues for the company. One of the main reasons why Yuhan had success was that they were allowed to have free mobility in terms of relative management and activities from Kimberly-Clark, who did not impose restrictions or policies against them. This would inevitably turn out to be a smart decision as Yuhan continues to make profit in different market regions.
Sustainability management is defined as the application of sustainable practices being managed in a way that will benefit current and future generations. Yuhan's economic responsibilities were to innovate, compete, increase revenue, and create jobs. Its social responsibilities were to focus on the quality of life of its employees. Allowing employees to rest and spend more time with their families would both improve productivity and product quality. Its environmental responsibilities to use natural resources as carefully as possible, reduce energy consumption to alleviate global warming, and lead the industry in using new technology to green its manufacturing processes. In 1984, when Yuhan-Kimberly began its green campaign, critics were skeptical. It did not make sense to them that Yuhan-Kimberly, as a large health and hygiene company, would embark on environmental initiative. Under 36 years of Japanese rule in the early 1900s and the Korean War in the 1950s had devastated much of the land. The industrialization of Korea during the 1960s and 1970s had taken place without much consideration of the environment. In 1984, when Yuhan-Kimberly began its green campaign, it planted and nurtured over 21 million trees. The company then extended its campaign toward North Korea and tackled an important regional problem. Every year around March, Koreans suffer from the health effects of yellow dust that blows into Korea from northern Asia. Helping solving issues like the chronic food shortage in North Korea and the yellow dust problem in China, the campaign had been a success. According to a survey, the company had ranked first among Korean companies for goodwill, trust, and contribution to society. Now what? Its sales, profits, and brand image had all benefited from its CSR campaign. Back in the 80s and 90s, Yuhan-Kimberly was one of the only companies talking about green, but now it had become a national prerogative and every company is coming out with something green. The campaign was even criticized as a cynical attempt to compensate for the serious environmental damages caused by both the production and disposal of paper products. One new idea Yuhan-Kimberly played with was Project Birthrate 2.0, which was Korea's birth rate of 1.0 per married couple, which was the lowest in the world. They hoped that the prospective campaign would arouse a nationwide awareness about the social problem and restore the company's image. But Lee had to decide whether to continue with the old green CSR campaign or embark in a new flagship campaign such as Birthrate 2.0. The question was how to create a new strategy connecting a CSR campaign to the development and launch of new products.